going on, everybody? Thank you so much for coming back to another week of the Clone Wars. We are now on the 8th episode of this final season, and this episode is titled Together Again. So as usual, guys, this video will be filled with spoilers, so if you have not seen this episode, definitely steer clear of this. I will be talking very casually about the spoilers in this episode. So we once again find ourselves with Ahsoka, Rafa, and Trace, the two Martez sisters, and Ahsoka. They are still imprisoned by the Pikes, the gangsters who they were working for, and they had to go get the spices for. They don't have the spices for, they dumped them. So yeah, they've been imprisoned here in the last couple episodes, and yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I felt like it was a great way to end this arc, this 4-episode arc of Ahsoka and the Martez sisters, as well as really setting up and exciting us for what will be the Siege of Mandalore, the final 4 episodes of this season, the final 4 episodes of the Clone Wars, and I'm super excited to see what this final section of the show has in store for us. So in this episode, essentially, Ahsoka has an idea where she pretty much talks the Pikes into allowing the Martez sisters to leave and go pick up the spice that she lies and says is off-world. The reality of the situation is Ahsoka knows they don't have the spices off-world. She's just kind of sending them off so that they can escape, and Ahsoka's going to stay there as leverage, and she's essentially just sacrificing herself, even though we know Ahsoka could get out of this situation. On an overall, my thoughts on the Martez sisters is I did enjoy them by the end of this episode a lot more than I did throughout this arc. I enjoyed them on an overall level, and I enjoyed the dynamic between them and Ahsoka, but yeah, they're definitely very arrogant, very inexperienced characters within the Star Wars universe. So as a diehard Star Wars fan or anybody who watches these things at all, they just seem to be a little bit just ignorant and just kind of annoying at times. But on an overall level, I did enjoy the dynamic between all of them. And in this episode, I definitely enjoyed Ahsoka, and I enjoyed all the small moments with her. So Ahsoka ends up escaping her cell after Rafa and Trace have left the system. Ahsoka ends up uncovering that the Pikes are working under Darth Maul. Now, they hinted at it earlier in the episode, and I really enjoyed this because it felt very much like Solo to me. If you've seen that movie at the very end, you know, throughout the film, they had been kind of trickling in the fact that there was somebody bigger that they were working for, and at the end you find out it's Darth Maul, and he's the leader of this crime syndicate called Crimson Dawn. And I really enjoyed that because they do lean on that in this episode. He talks about Crimson Dawn, and I love the connection there because before these episodes came out, you know, you've watched the end of the Clone Wars, you kind of know where Darth Maul is, and then you see his story play out on Rebels, which takes place after Solo, and then he just appears in Solo, you know, as the leader of this Crimson Dawn, which was a new thing for Star Wars fans and a new thing for the story of Darth Maul. So I really enjoyed the fact that they were able to tie that in. I really love the fact that we were able to see Darth Maul's kind of first steps, or kind of his earlier steps here as the leader of Crimson Dawn. And we know by the end of the season he may be defeated to some extent, but we know that he'll still be the leader of the Crimson Dawn because of the fact that we know that in Solo later on in the timeline, he will still be the leader of Crimson Dawn. So I'm really excited to see where they take that with these next couple episodes, but I really enjoyed that, being able to see Darth Maul via hologram and kind of hear him talk about Crimson Dawn, connecting more to Solo, a Star Wars story. And on an overall level, I really enjoyed all of that. So essentially, Rafa and Trace decide that they don't want to just kind of stand by and let Ahsoka die or kind of just sacrifice herself. So they end up going to another Pike system and tricking the people that work there at that factory to give them spice, and essentially are trying to say, oh, this is an order from the higher-ups, you need to give it to us or you're going to have some problems. And I really enjoyed seeing the different species that were working for the Pikes. To get to see the Tung in here. There's a bunch of engineers and just people working there that are all part of the species called Tung. They're the same species as Ben Quagenero from episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So I really enjoyed being able to see their species walking around. And then their manager was actually a Trandoshan, which is the exact same species as Bosk. So I really enjoyed that. So yeah, Rafa and Trace come to the rescue of Ahsoka. And in this episode, they find out that Ahsoka is a Jedi, or at least was a Jedi. And what I really enjoyed about that is that, you know, I was very curious to see what their reaction would be to her being a Jedi. You know, when the end of the day, their parents died because of the actions of a Jedi, and they kind of have a negative perspective of a Jedi. And what I really enjoyed about it at the end of it all, specifically from Rafa, was the fact that Rafa was just kind of like, you know, you may not be a Jedi anymore, but you very much act like a Jedi, or at least what I was hoping a Jedi would be. So it was cool to know that Ahsoka was able to change their perspective on what a Jedi is and what a Jedi should be. And I really enjoyed those small moments. And yeah, what was really cool is bo-katan does show up in this episode with the other Mandalorians, and she has a hologram of Darth Maul, and it tells Ahsoka we have a common enemy, and Ahsoka leaves with bo-katan to move on to the next set of episodes. So I'm definitely excited to see what comes next. I'm really excited to see what the Clone Wars does with the finale. I'm just really excited to see all of this. I just can't wait. Definitely feeling like these last 4 episodes are going to be a lot bigger than the last 8 episodes. So I'm definitely excited to see what this season ends off on. And yeah, guys, I definitely want to hear what you guys had to say. So hit that like button down below if you enjoyed this video. Leave your comments down below. Did you like this episode? Did you not like this episode? Are you really excited for the stuff coming up with the Siege of Mandalore? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see each and every single one of you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.